In what ways will the COVID-19 pandemic impact college applications and acceptance rates?
Okay. Like that was your first question. That's a great question. Every day we're learning new things about what schools are saying and what they're doing. And so the impact of COVID will be something we'll need to analyze after the fact. But knowing that my answers might be different in a week than they are today. That being said, there have been a ton of articles released in the US saying that colleges will be easier to get into. That is wrong. Colleges are not going to be easier to get into. Colleges are changing the way that they admit students. So where in the past they relied heavily on standardized testing, many schools are making it an option instead of a requirement, which means that their own internal system of choosing kids has to change. Because a lot of schools, their first option, the first thing they do is say, okay, we want every kid has to have a 1020 or above. So everyone below that is in the no pile. Well, they can't do that anymore. So they're going to need to change the way they look at admissions. For rising seniors, so for your batch, something that's changed or that's new is that the Common App in the US, again, has added a COVID-specific question. So students who want to talk about how COVID has impacted them and how they've grown or dealt with the situation, they have the space to do that, and they don't have to sacrifice their college essay for that. Around the world, colleges are preparing for a different type of fall, for a different type of entire year. Many universities have said first semester, we're going to be online, or we're going to do partial. We're going to do 50% online, 50% small group. So only classes that are like 10 and under can meet. Classes that are 200 are going to be online, things like that. So those are some of the big changes that have been happening in the college world.
What changes can we expect to occur in college admissions process because of this pandemic?
It's going to depend on how the schools decide to adapt to the COVID normal. Like if people are working from home, we might see delays in things that are hard copies, like transcripts or acceptance letters, but you still might get your email. The big one that is more of a concern is visas. Now I know for US citizens going to the US, that's not really a concern, but for international students, the visa processes are changing. The US has definitely been, at least the US president has been very vocal about denying access, denying visas to students who want to come to the US. Recently Europe has put out that they're not going to accept any US citizens into their borders because of the US's reaction to COVID. Now, that doesn't include visas, but it is something just to note that getting a visa to these different countries, not having the passport of the country is going to be something you want to really make sure you know what's going on with when you're applying to a school, because you don't want to be stuck in a position where you've accepted a school, but you cannot get there.
What measures should rising seniors take in order to best prepare for these changes?
Rising seniors should have an ear out for college admissions conversations. These conversations are happening at every level. In some ways in the past, students have been able to kind of slack off, not really pay attention to what was going on in the college world because it wasn't really relevant to them. The process was streamlined and they could move through it. But now with all these changes, rising seniors need to be really attentive to what's going on, what the changes are, especially, like I said, visa is a big thing. Financial aid is another big one. The college process in general. To call it just alternative paths is the typical path for college, or for a college student, is to graduate from high school and go to college. An alternative path would be to go to a 2-year institution, get an associate's degree, and then transfer to a 4-year college and do either a 2 or a 4-year education. You still graduate from that top university that you love, but you've saved money, you spent 2 years doing your entry-level credits, your 100s and 200 level credits, and you save a little bit of money, you save a little bit of time. The big thing with gap years that we've been seeing just to put it out there, is a lot of schools are saying, okay, we realize that COVID is really tough, but you can't just take a gap year to do nothing because of COVID, right? Like, gap years are a tool that students use to gain experience before going to college, to have a little bit of more self-exploration, whether they do in Europe. It's very common for them to do like trips around the world or trips around Europe, backpacking trips, or do an internship or something. It's all about gaining experience.
What are the most important things for rising seniors to be aware of in light of these circumstances?
College is going to look different this year and probably next year. And this could be something that changes just for these 2 years, or it could be something that's going to change forever. We don't know. But it is vital that rising seniors and current graduates, our current batch of 2020 graduates, reframe their expectations. Because it's not going to look like what you've been told it's going to look like. It's going to look different. And if it does look like your college experience, that's great. But the reality is that it's probably going to look very different. The college application process, the college experience, do a little bit of self-exploration. Why are you actually going to college? What are you trying to get out of it? And making sure your expectations are realistic and fit with the current situation.
What are the most important things for parents to be aware of in light of these circumstances?
For parents, for students, the role of the parent in the college admissions process is always as an advisor. Parents are the ones that help the students kind of explore who they are, right? That's the counselor's job as well, your teacher's job. Like, we're all advising you and helping you to kind of learn about who you are. It's you, right? Parents raise their students, so they've always been kind of the expert, right? Eat your vegetables, don't run inside. Our parents tell us kind of what to do, and they raised us. But in this situation, they need to be the ones asking questions. They need to be the ones that are more there for, when I say support or advice, I don't mean like, I know what's best for you. It's more supportive. It's more reflection support, is saying like, I really like this school, and saying, oh, well, that school sucks. But instead saying like, oh, well, what do you like about it? Like, let's talk about it. Like, kind of pulling students into a reflection conversation.
Yeah.
Asking questions. Like, parents don't know what the process is. As I said, the counselors are learning what this new process is. Students are learning what this new process is. Always ask questions. I have parents that email me pretty often just asking like, hey, I want to learn about this or that. Like, and that's perfect, because that's what they should be doing.
But if there's anything that you would like to add, anything you would like to say to the rising seniors of today, go ahead. Thank you.
You guys got this. I think and this is not just with COVID, but in general, the college application process, it's a big decision. And students feel really daunted by it. And, as a counselor, I think it's my job to simplify that process for you, to make it less daunting. Because in reality, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. And I say that with a lot of love, because it's okay to not know where you want to go, what you want to do, who you want to be. And especially now that we have COVID, where, we're out of school, you're not near your friends, you're experiencing, like I said, mental health struggles, family struggles for some people, like not, having to deal with job loss or health issues, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's a lot going on right now. You got this. The college process is there, and it's something that you have to do, but it is by no means like should not be at the top of your priority list. It's something that has to get done, and it will get done because you guys got this. That's another kind of part of the reframing your expectations is, take care of it, write your essay, take care of yourself, do what you need to do, because you're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And that's another reason why the counselors are here. We're here to answer your calls, answer your emails, answer all your questions, and kind of make this process a lot easier. So, use your support system.
Yeah.
You got this. use your support system. There you go. That's my advice.